Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends.
1 shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love.
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So, take a seat.
Grab a drink.
And get cozy.
All right, welcome back, book friends. Speaking of cozy, what's keeping you cozy these days? So, for me, what's keeping me cozy is some good music. You know, I love some good music. I will splurge happily on a good concert, and which just so happens is what we did. Like, literally got back today, and yeah, we saw Nick and I got him these tickets for his birthday last year. So I got these tickets in October, and we went. Yesterday was the concert, and so we went to go see Jade from the band. The girl group Little Mix from the UK. And so she's doing her own, she's going off on her own. So are the other members of the band. And she didn't come to Texas. So I had to look for other opportunities to go see her. And so we went to Denver, all the way over to Denver. And so, yeah, we took a plane ride early yesterday morning. Got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
I didn't realize it was just a quick trip.
Yeah, it was a quick trip, like literally left yesterday, came back today.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a whirlwind of a trip.
Yeah.
But it was good. The good music, it was so,
Yay.
like the environment, the group that was there, it was just so inclusive. Everyone was having a great time. This was the trip, y'all. I saw one of my current students from Texas in Denver.
I cannot believe that.
Crazy.
The craziest thing. The craziest
that must have been
thing.
So weird.
It was so weird because all I hear is Mr. Silva. And I'm like,
oh my God.
What?
I left for a reason.
Yeah, what are you doing following me? That's so funny.
Not me.
Yeah.
You don't know. No. It was so crazy, but we had a great time. It was great. Yeah.
Yay.
I love a good concert, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been to a concert in a while. I'll have to
honestly, me neither.
Figure that out soon.
I think the last concert I went to was a Bad Bunny concert.
That was a while ago.
So crazy.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
I can't even remember the last time I went to a concert, to be honest. It was probably in 2022 or 23. I don't know.
Like I said, I like to splurge on a good concert. The last concert I went to was last week, so. But
what'd you guys see?
In my defense, I did not buy those tickets. We went to go see the K-pop group Twice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so
They're
I was
really
like, I'm
good,
not.
I heard.
Yeah, there's 9
I know
of them.
nothing about K-pop.
And so, yeah, I don't either. So this was not, like, it was just like, hey, we happen to have tickets, let's go see them. So.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did not buy these tickets. I was like, sure, I'll go. Why not? Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. That's
Fun.
cool. All right. So for me, I know that last week I shared that I was having a hard time finding anything that was cozy. And this week I was really reflecting on that a lot because I realized that, like, yes, obviously I'm going to feel stressed out. That's something you can't really get rid of, especially not right now. But I'm very grateful to the fact that I have the time and space to be able to get through what I'm getting through right now. I come home and I'm able to focus on that. You know, I can spend the entire weekend working on my dissertation and I don't have to worry about like having dinner out for a family or like having to take care of kids after a really long day of work. And not against saying that, you know, I hate that. I have the freedom to do that right now. And I'm very grateful for that, you know, and I give kudos to all the working moms out there who handle this all, plus, you know, are getting their degrees as well. Because a lot of people in my cohort are moms. So like, kudos to you guys out there who are handling everything, because I can barely handle this. And I have the time and space to do it. So what's keeping me cozy is just the fact that I am so grateful to be in a place where I can get through it all. And I have the people to lean on to be able to help me get through it all, you know? So I'm feeling much better after last week. So,
and you did say that you checked out the Great British Baking Show, right?
I had it on yesterday.
How did you like it?
I was watching it while I was working on my paper. So I thought it was really funny how super nice everybody is to each other. And it's like, I think somebody had a cake meltdown because their cake completely fell apart, and everybody was like coming up to him, "It's gonna be okay. You got this. It's gonna look great still. Like whatever." And they're all competing against each other, so I think that's funny.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah, it's so wholesome. Everyone's just like, you know what? You can still save it. Like you do it
encouraging
again.
each
You work
other.
hard. Yeah.
And like,
So sweet.
and just like, cheering each other on when they get Baker of the Week or whatever that's called. And so I just loved it. I loved having like just a quiet voices in the background as I'm working on my paper and just like listening to them just be so cheerful. So I did like it.
That sounds
I
great.
didn't start from season 1. I started right where it's at right now. 13.
Oh, you did the most recent one.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a good one. So,
Yeah. Because I was like, I didn't want
Awesome.
to start from the beginning. I just wanted to see what it was about, you know?
Yeah. You don't have to watch
It's going to be the last
chronologically.
season with Prue. So
Okay.
as one of the judges. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Next
good.
season's going to be Nigella. I'm so excited.
Well, I liked it. So thank you for the recommendation.
Good. Well, for me, what's been keeping me cozy lately? I don't know. Just Jen and I were just talking about how I started my Zodiac Academy journey this month, and
Yay! So happy.
I'm 2 books in and hooked on the storyline. So yeah, excited to catch up to Jen eventually at some point. We'll see.
I love it. Now, Ethan, it's your turn.
No. I know I'm always going to be the straggler, I feel like.
It's okay. It's a lot of books to keep up with.
It's time to welcome everyone back to this series of the Well of Ascension.
Yay!
For everyone that's listening to us, this is just a reminder, this is book 2 in the Mistborn series. So the first one was The Final Empire. We actually covered that on the podcast last year. This is book 2 of that series, so we're excited to go back to Luthadel and see the comings and goings of all of our favorite characters. So this is episode 2 in that series, so stick with us. This is going to be a 5-part series. Normally we have about a 4-part series, so be aware of that. There will be an extra 5th part here, just because we like to take our time when it comes to Sanderson, and there's some things that we really like to dive into and discuss. So for that reason, 5-part series. But before we get any further, I'm going to pass it over to Jen for our standard spoiler PSA.
All right, you guys, before we get started, quick spoiler warning. If you're listening to this episode, we are assuming that you have read the first 24 chapters because there will be some major spoilers throughout our discussion today. So if you haven't had a chance to read all 24 chapters, please be sure to go and finish them. Then come join this discussion. We'd really appreciate it if you left us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more book lovers find us and keeps our little bookish community growing. Speaking of reviews, we would love to give a shout out to Naked Genius. Love the username, by the way. Gave us 5 stars, and she wrote, "Love this, super fun and infectious energy. I love the series predictions for the Empyrean, and the different theories make me want to do a reread." Thank you so much for the review. We absolutely loved reading it, and we're just so happy that you found our little book community, and we hope you are here to stay.
Yes, thanks so much,
Thank
Naked
you.
Genius. Love it. Before we get into our discussion today, and before we get to our summary, I'm going to go into what we call the lore bite. This is where we do a little bit of extra support around world building in whatever book that we find ourselves in. So for The Final Empire, book 1 of Mistborn, we actually did an Allomancy 101 where we just discussed all the metals that we knew about at that point and what they did for the user. For the lore bite in the Well of Ascension, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back to the segment. We're going to call it Allomancy 201. Still, we're going to talk about all the metals that we know of thus far because we've added to what we know. Let's get into it. So I've kind of grouped these into metals that they've talked about, more physical, some are more mental. So here we go. We have the physical metals of iron. Iron pulls metal toward the user. And then we have steel, pushes metals away from the user. Pewter enhances strength, endurance, speed, and healing. And then we have tin that heightens the senses. So those are our physical metals. Then we go into our more mental metals. We have zinc that inflames emotions, brass soothes or dampens emotions, copper that hides allomantic pulses, and then we have bronze that detects allomantic pulses. So then we have this other category that I'm really calling big picture metals, and I'm just going to lump in the rest of the metals that we are talking about that we know of so far in this category. So we have gold, shows a vision of who you could have been. Adium shows the immediate future actions of others. Then we have aluminum that we learned about at the end of the Final Empire, but this instantly wipes out all of your other metal reserves that you have currently in your body. So it leaves you powerless, basically. It gives a quick reset button. And then we have its alloy, duralumin. When burned with another metal, it releases an explosive burst of that metal's power and consumes it completely, leaving it kind of like aluminum does, gone after it's used all up. So that's our Allomancy 201. At this point in the story, we know of 12 metals, some that enhance, some that manipulate, some that predict, and some that erase, as in the case of aluminum. And now that we've refreshed ourselves on the rules of the system, let's talk about what happens when those rules get tested, because in chapters 13 through 24, power isn't just theoretical anymore, it's political, it's strategic, and it's starting to get dangerous. So let's get into our summary of these chapters, and then we'll go into our discussion, which I'm so ready for. So, chapters 13 through 24, Elend, now king under the newly formed assembly, is forced to confront the reality that idealistic governance is much harder than overthrowing a tyrant. He pushes for diplomacy and legality, but cracks begin to show in both his authority and the system he created. The assembly debates, tensions rise, and Elend starts to realize that good intentions don't automatically equal effective leadership, as we've discussed before. Meanwhile, Vin is growing stronger as a Mistborn, experimenting with aluminum and duralumin and refining her combat abilities. But internally, she's struggling. She doesn't feel at home in courtly society, she questions whether she belongs beside Elend, and she continues wrestling with her complicated bond with Orson. And then Zane enters the chat. Zane, Straff's unstable Mistborn son, begins interacting with Vin in a way that's both unsettling and compelling. He recognizes her strength, sees her as something powerful and dangerous, not something to be softened into nobility. Their encounters introduce tension and temptation, and he subtly plants seeds of doubt about Elend's ability to survive this new political world. Outside the city, Straff isn't just waiting, he's playing the long game, probing weaknesses and leveraging fear. And as if one army weren't enough, Set from the Western dominance has brought his army, and now Lakal has entered the picture with yet a third army of 20,000 strong Koloss creatures. So it's about to get real. It's about to get real. By the end of this section, the siege is real, Elend's authority is fragile, Vin is questioning her place, and the city is beginning to feel trapped. Sounds like a perfect storm if I've ever heard one. Victory over the Lord Ruler didn't bring stability. As we've said, it created a power vacuum, and now everyone wants to fill it. So, with that being said, let's get into our 3, 2, 1. I've talked a lot. Jen, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I absolutely devoured these chapters because I was like, holy shit, so much happened in every chapter that I had a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about. So the first thing that stood out to me was the Watcher, aka Zane. What the fuck? Hello. So I was wrong. And I remember in our last episode, I said, he absolutely not working with Straff. He's not working with any army because he made that whole comment of why are you playing their games?
Yeah.
But we find out that not only is he working with Straff, but he's his son and Elend's half brother.
Right.
It's like,
I know.
I definitely did not see this reveal coming. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm usually pretty good about picking up on stuff. This one I did not see coming. His character is very interesting. He seems to think that Elend is using Ben, and even ask her like, why is she allowing herself to be a slave? And yet he lets Straff order him around and uses him. So I'm like, okay. I do love that we got a POV chapter from him. Like, that was super interesting to read. Like, I really latched onto that one. His whole God voice, like, is very interesting well.
Crazy.
He's always like asking to kill. And then I thought too, I'm like, okay, is it God because he sees himself as a deity? Like is that how he sees himself? That's why it's being used as God in the writing. I don't know. He does think very highly of himself, though. So I'm like, that's kind of why I thought that. But that's going to be very interesting to see a little bit more of. And it turns out that he's the one who plays the spy in Elend's circle. And his thought when he was walking back into Straff's army, he was like, the thing that was keeping Straff and therefore Zane from ruling the central dominance. I'm like, okay, so does he want to be in charge? Like, does he want to be the one ruling? So there was just a lot that happened in that one chapter. I was like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, he's like already throwing so much chaos into this whole scenario. And I have a little bit more thoughts, but that'll be more on my second thought. What did you guys think of like his introduction?
Okay. I loved this whole thing. I loved it. And he's also one of my points, so I'm just going to roll mine into what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because it's a big deal, right? Like it's him entering the picture kind of, it doesn't change everything, but it's pretty huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and say, I didn't want to be dramatic, but it changes everything.
Kind of, yeah.
I too was wrong, right? Because I thought the Watcher may have been an Inquisitor.
Right,
and I thought that because Vin kept saying there's something familiar about him. There's something familiar about him. And there's one point where she even thought to herself, he reminds me of Kelsier. And I was like, I latched onto that part. I was like, does that mean maybe Kelsier has an illegitimate son?
Okay.
And I immediately thought of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, no, that doesn't really make any sense. And then what made me think of, it made me think of this because he works for Straff. And I was like, no, it makes more sense that Straff has an illegitimate son. And literally the next page I turned, he was like, oh, that's my brother. I was like, oh, okay. So it's revealed now officially. So I was like, I called it right before it happened, but I was wrong about the Inquisitor. And then I was wrong again about Kelsier's son. So but I like it. Keeps me on my toes. But I like his whole God complex. I'm thinking when we get more about his story, like how he grew up, maybe the God thing might make more sense.
Yeah.
Because it too reminds me, it echoes a little bit of what Vin had going on when we first met her. Instead of God, it was Reen.
Right.
It was his voice in her head.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That felt a little familiar. And so, I don't know. All eyes are on Zane right now.
Yeah.
And he's keeping some things close to the chest here. Like he's not revealing all of his secrets because the attempts on Straff's life are not, he made it seem like they weren't his doing. Like they're not his like he's just letting Straff think that.
Right. That's what I picked up on that too.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I was reading that right.
No, because he like was saying a lot, or like a lot of his inner dialogue was talking about like, I'm going to let him think that, but really like, I'm not trying to assassinate him.
Yeah.
Right. But
He
Straff
seems
thinks
to want his father's approval.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, he hates this man. So I'm like,
yeah.
I don't.
Well, he's obviously a complicated character. The God voice that he hears, like even he admits to himself like that he's insane.
He does, yeah.
And I
So,
love that
like,
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because of this God voice, yes, to him it's God. And I like the connection you're making, Ethan, where like Vin had a similar voice in her head, but hers was Reen. So it's interesting to think like why he associates that voice with God, because like Reen was basically all that Vin used to have before she found Kelsier and the crew and all that, So, what did he have? Who knows? We don't know a lot about his backstory except for he's an illegitimate son.
So something you brought up, Jen, made me because I was thinking about this too, that it seems as though he is the one that has planted a spy in the circle. But it made me think of like, are those two separate things? Like, could we still have a Chandra that someone else has planted and he also just has a regular spy going on? Like,
not necessarily
could
a
that be a
Chandra?
second reveal?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess he didn't say Chandra. He just said the note that was left for me.
By his spy.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't
And
say
then-
Chandra.
And then Straff asked about, what did the spy tell you?
Right.
So, okay.
That's a
it
good
could be-
point.
Yeah. it
They're
could be
not
two
saying
different
Condra.
spies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It would make perfect sense. Why not? You have all of these different people wanting a piece of the pie of Luthadel.
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's going to be espionage
one
on
betrayal.
multiple levels.
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't think.
Exactly.
See, I didn't think of that. Like, I thought this is a Condra spy. Like, he's the one that
Yeah.
put him there. So, okay, all right.
Crazy
Zane,
stuff.
yeah. So, okay, so my second point also goes along a little bit with Zane, but my second point is I'm starting to sense a little trouble in paradise between Ben and Elend's relationship, and it's honestly breaking my heart.
Oh.
So there have been several mentions, I think, in my opinion, foreshadowing that maybe not all will be well between Ben and Elend, and I think that one of those is Zane. So Ben and Zane's mutual obsession with each other, I think, is going to cause a problem in her relationship with Elend. Zane obviously doesn't like his half-brother and is intrigued by Ben, wondering why she's with him and also hoping that she's going to be like his salvation. And on the other hand, Ben is intrigued with him because he's a Mistborn, someone that understands her for who she is without having to question her identity. In chapter 17, when they were sparring with each other, they really seemed to enjoy it. It kind of felt like some weird Mistborn foreplay. I don't know.
I thought the same exact thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. A little bit.
They were loving it. And they both admitted to themselves that they're like, we have to keep seeing each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, oh my gosh, I love the way you burned your medal.
Right? Like, they loved it. Okay, so that's not the only thing that I picked up on as far as like getting in the way of Ben and Elend's relationship. Like, there was a few other things, like even Ben herself, these were some of her thoughts on her relationship. She said, a lesser man would never have fallen in love with me, but doesn't he deserve a woman that he feels he can protect? A woman who's more like a woman? And then, of course, what Zane says to Ben, we don't belong in their world. We belong here in the mist. You don't belong with them. And Ben really seems to like think about that more than once. And then what the Terra's woman says about Ben to Elend, perhaps she isn't right for a man in your position. Perhaps you need someone a little more refined. I'm certain she's a capable bodyguard, but as a lady. So there's a lot of doubts, creeping up in everybody's head, basically, on whether or not Ben and Elend should be together. And again, that really breaks my heart.
I know.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, like there was a moment, you remember when Zane asked her, like, can he Elend really love you if he can't understand you? Like, and can he understand you? Because they have this mutual understanding each other because they're both Mistborn.
Yeah.
Which sets them apart from like all other mistakes, and like, no one else can really relate to them in that regard. So like he's even using her vulnerability against her in her relationship with Elend. So
Right.
Well,
she's like at this point where she's questioning not just herself, but her relationship with Elend. So he's just picking up on that and like poking at that wound, so
yeah, because I know that Strath like ordered him to get to know her more and to basically bring her on their side, but I don't think he wants that. I think he wants her more for him. Like he does have an obsession with her. So,
and like you said earlier, he said that she could be his salvation.
Right.
So there was like a moment where he was thinking about getting to know her more and enjoying her company. And during his inner monologue, he was saying he wanted her to basically escape with him, like away from Elend, away from Strath, because he didn't feel like he was strong enough to escape on his own. And that's why he's still hanging around Strath and helping him out.
Yeah. I think it has to happen where like their relationship it could end altogether. It could stall and say like the famous Ross line,
Jen's
like we were on
"No."
a break. Like I think it probably, for character development wise, like it has to happen in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
I would like them to be in game. Like that would be cool. I think that would be a solid character arc story, but I do think that there's going to have to be some time apart from each other in order for all of this to make sense. Like there's so much happening right now. Zane has entered the picture. Elend is leveling up in his own respect with everything going on. He has a kingdom to run,
Right.
So like, and he's having to learn on the job how to run a kingdom and fend off 3 other kings.
Right.
So it's all like there's a lot going on for them to selfishly focus on a relationship.
Yeah, and I get it that I think Ellen, they probably do need to break up, as much as that pains me to say, because Ellen needs to grow. He needs to become the king that this kingdom needs, and I don't think he can do that the more he leans on Ben for protection.
And I don't think Vin pushes him, honestly. Like she's not pushing him to be a better leader. She's almost giving him a sense of complacency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're because she truly believes in him that much, which is sweet.
The way he
Because
is now.
he's such a good person. He is a good person, but he's not a good leader.
Right.
And so she's not challenging him. And so she's like, if that's what you think is best, then that's what's best.
Well, and she
just tell people to do it.
She also needs to be needed. So she made a comment too that said, is he gonna still need me? Because like he started sparring more. He started, picking up his sword to learn, to be a warrior, right? And she even said that she's like, is he still gonna need me? Because I think that's right. She doesn't push him to become more because she wants him to need her, because that's where she feels her safety.
Right.
So
if she's not his bodyguard, then what is she for him?
Exactly.
Then what is she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh my goodness.
like, I did really enjoy the moment when Tinwell was like questioning their relationship. At first she asked like, why haven't you married her yet? And he was just like, oh, well, it's not really any of your business. And then she questioned like, well, she may not even be an appropriate, lady to be with. And I love that Ellen shut that down immediately. And she even was like proud of him for standing up for Vin, She was like, okay, I won't question it anymore.
It's like, I just wanted to make sure you loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was as definitive as he's ever been in any discussion that he had with Tindwell.
Yeah.
He was like, nope.
Right. And she even pointed out like, you always hedge or like and with your responses to me, but not on this. So that's all I need to know about y'all. Good to know.
Yeah, so that I really picked up on all those little things happening. So I think that you're right. I think it's just going to foreshadow that all will be well. And then the third thing that stuck out to me is just how everybody is seeing Ellen. It's pissing me off. I'm so sick of reading about everyone's like doubts on Ellen. Leave my dude alone, please.
Leave Brittany alone.
I cannot wait until he proves every single one of them wrong. So these are just some of the ones that I wrote down, but there was plenty of like quotes that I could have put on here. I just limited myself to 3. But the first one was how Ellen was seeing himself. Ellen doesn't think very highly of himself either. He was thinking all his life he's seen himself as a scholar and socialite, but also as a bit of a fool. He was Ellen, the friendly, comfortable man with the funny ideas, easy to dismiss, perhaps, but difficult to hate. So not thinking very highly of himself here. Then the second one was what the terrace woman said to him when she first got there. She said, your people think you are a fool, Ellen Bencher. The assembly ignores your authority. The scholar convinced that you won't be able to protect them. Even your own council of friends makes their plans in your absence, assuming your input to be no great loss. I was like, fuck. Tell me how it really is.
That one hurt.
I don't like it when you tell me true things.
Shut up.
Oh.
No, but it was true.
I know it's true. I know it's
and
true.
she had been observing him so like she saw all the weaknesses and his behavior and his leadership style.
And I'll speak more on her when I get to my character reads. And then the third quote that I put on here was what his own friend said about him, which was Jace Lacal. He said, Ellen doesn't control Luthadel. He's simply a placeholder waiting for someone more powerful to come along. He's a good man, but he's an innocent idealist. He's going to lose his throne. I said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm so ready for Elend
Jen's like,
to come
"Keep
out
talking
of
bad
this.
about my man."
Yes. I'm so ready for him to prove all these motherfuckers wrong. Like I'm here for his character growth. Yeah, I cannot wait. I'm loving it.
Well,
Okay.
he's like really taking what Tyndall is trying to teach him to heart and like applying it and doing everything that she's saying. So like he obviously knows that he's got some weaknesses to work through and he's
Right.
working on it. So go off, King.
Yes. What I'm concerned about is because we're not dealing with YA fantasy. This is adult
Yeah.
fantasy, right? And so what I'm concerned about is that, you know, in Game of Thrones, how often did we want this huge moment for the Stark family only to be met with, nope, now they're dead, you know?
You shut
So
your
we
mouth.
never, I know though, but I'm just saying this needs to be something that we might have to prepare ourselves for.
Yeah, guard your heart.
Because I love Elend. I love Elend dearly. And it's mostly because of the scenes that we get in this section that my love for Elend's character has grown even more so, because he's under no delusion. He is under no delusion that he is not a great leader. And he even admits to him, to Tyndall several times, but there's one time in particular, he was like, I am not the best person for this job. And he tells her straight out, he's like, I'm not the best person. And then what I love about, and I'm going to get into her too, because she's also, I've brought her up as well. But yeah, I just love everything about him, but I just want to potentially prepare you for the worst. You know, I don't want us to be caught off guard if that were to happen, because I would be heartbroken.
I was so torn up over the Red Wedding, but yeah, no, I mean, Rob was my favorite. So, and I'm seeing Elend, like I saw Rob, like I saw so much potential in him, right? So
Yeah.
thanks, Ethan.
I'm just saying, I don't want you to be completely caught unawares if it does happen.
So if it does happen, I'm blaming you, not Sanderson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know.
I'm just kidding.
Jeez. Well, I'm going to go into my 3, because speaking of enter Tyndall, I've been wondering about the Terrace people and wondering if we might get some more, and we get it here, and I was so excited. Excited. I have said before in last episode that I believe every character is getting a major level up scene, and this is Elend's opportunity to shine, because what Tyndall says is that every Terrace person has a specialty, right? With Cezed, it's religions, and with her, it's biographies, and specifically, like she's talking in this case to help Elend, kings and past leaders. And so she's using her store of knowledge to help him and tutor him and mentor him. So Tyndall is to Elend as Kelsier was to Vin. And I'm just loving their interactions, where she is just flat and she's telling it like it is. But what I like about that is she was straight up. She was like, I'm determining whether or not I should still be here, right? And she hasn't left yet, so she sees some potential in him, which is encouraging. And he did have that moment where he was like, no, I'm not the best person for the job. She had a reaction similar to yours. She was like, you shut your damn mouth.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, you are the perfect person as of right now, because you're the one that stepped up when no one else did. And you were here to take charge. So at least you have that going for you. It may not be much. Like, she's not trying to build him up so far to where he could become delusional,
Right.
You know, she's being realistic, and I love her interactions with him. She's just telling him like it is. And he's starting to become more confident. He's like, oh no, like, she's right. I'm dressing more appropriately for the part. You know, eventually I'm not going to have my close circle them calling me instead of, you know, Your Majesty, especially when we're in public. You know, I cut my hair. I'm changing the way I speak, and I'm changing my posture, everything like that. And she's only been with him a couple of days, and he's already made this much improvement. It's really encouraging to see. So I love everything that's going about their interactions together. What did y'all think when she entered the picture?
Oh my God. So can we actually talk about how she entered the picture? Because I love this. So the Elend and the crew were talking about their plan for the siege and like what they should do. And, you know, it's like the inner circle, and it should be, you know, like top secret, you know, high security. And then the guards bring her in, arrested because she had somehow breached the palace and was like listening in on their conversation. But like as a prisoner, I thought it was so funny what she said to everybody. So they bring her in, she's arrested, and let me see. I wrote it down because it was just cracking me up. Okay,
She's
so
clever, that's for
she
sure.
says to the crew,
Yeah.
I would speak with the king alone. The rest of you are excused. While she's handcuffed.
While she's handcuffed, yeah. She has her bonds about her.
That was so funny.
And then she also admitted that she let herself be caught like when she knew Ben
Yeah.
was gone.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
And then immediately, once the door closes, she just like breaks her bonds. She's like, all right, now that that's out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used Farukami to like
Yes.
strength.
Strength.
yeah. No, I like her actually. I really like her a lot. She was super harsh though, so I remember like whenever I read the first thing she said to him when she was calling him a
She was
fool.
dissing Elend.
Yeah. I was like, the nerve of this woman. And then the more she kept saying, I'm like, no, it's exactly true. Like that's
No,
exactly
she's
what's
so right.
happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
She's saying true
exactly
things.
how they treat him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really like her. I think she's a really great, interesting character. And I really like what she said too about like after she told Ellen about her specialties or whatever, Ellen likes to read. He's a big reader. So like a lot of his
Yeah.
ideas are coming from books that he's read. And so she said, this is what I love. She said, understanding theories of politics and leadership, Ellen Venture, is not the same as understanding the lives of men who live such principles. I'm like, exactly. Like you can read as much as you want, but if you don't live it out yourself, you don't live through those experiences, then you don't have the experience to do that.
Right.
Yeah. No, she's
The way you carry
she's an interesting
yourself
character.
matters.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Yes, she's an interesting character. I'm not totally sure if I can trust her 100% just because she is so by the book, right? Like because I say that because we get that in the interaction that she has with Cezed at the end of this section.
Yeah.
Right? She and Cezed have a
point.
moment
They do. Yeah.
and she's like she's like condemning his actions, right? Of what he's done so far. And she's like, why, of all people, like, you are the perfect person, like the poster child of what a terroristman should be. And yet you choose to completely disobey what you've been told to do. And she's like, why? Like, you of all people. And so I'm worried, not necessarily about what she might do with Elend, but what she might do with Cezed, Is she going to turn him in? Is she going to be his downfall? Is she going to be the reason why he might die later on in the series? I don't know. So that's immediately where my head went with that just brief interaction that they have there. I was like, oh, she's more by the book than Cezed is.
So
is,
are you just
yeah.
trying to kill off all my characters, Ethan?
We're just
No, 'cause I love
preparing
them
you for
all.
what might come.
I'm potentially preparing you, or I'm preparing you for the potential outcome.
Leave them alone.
I know. Leave all the characters alone.
Leave
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
alone.
And it's
All
funny
right.
you bring that up because like Cezed was even thinking that to himself in the, before this section in the first 12 chapters that we read, how like he had been doing, what he was always meant to do, which was like spread all these religions, and he just didn't feel fulfilled by that. He felt
Right.
called to go back to Luthadel again and help out the crew. And he thought to himself, but that's not what I should be doing. But
Right.
I'm still not going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. And then my second point was Zane, but we've already talked about him, and I've already mentioned my piece about him. Love his character.
Yeah. Well, I did want to add one more thing about the like Zane Vin conversation. Like I'm seeing Zane, and even Vin is starting to see Zane as like an alternate version of what she could have been. So there was a quote from, I can't remember what chapter it was. I think it might have been in 24. After they had talked and he left, she said, or she wondered what kind of person she might have been if she had gained full access to her powers without simultaneously learning of friendship and trust from Kelsier and his crew.
Yeah.
So like she's realizing that Zane has a similar background to her, like grew up with no one, or at least like not with any like nice, warm, fuzzy household to grow up in. And like he is a mistborn, and she thinks if she had become a mistborn before she had like a found family with Kelsier and his crew, she probably would have been a lot more like him. Like, she's already a lot like him, you know? So I just thought it's interesting to see that they're like parallels of each other.
And she doesn't see herself, or she sees herself as a good person, but she could have been way worse, is what you're saying, right? Yeah.
Right. Could have been more like him.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting to read about.
Yeah, so I'll just say that my third point is we have entered a second kind of Game of Thrones situation here, right? Where we mentioned it last episode, where it's a power vacuum, right? People are seizing the opportunity because they think Luthadel is fresh on the market. And so Elend is trying to maintain it to the best of his ability, the central dominance. And then we have Set from the Western dominance trying to take a slice of it. We have Straff, obviously. And then we have Luthadel, all of them calling themselves king.
Yep.
Right. And so what's going on here?
Gosh.
And the plan for Elend is to try to make Set and Straff believe that he wants to ally with both of them and then turn them against each other and have them fight each other. And then he'll maintain Luthadel. But after he makes that plan, then we get Luthadel with the Kolos army.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? And so the only reason we know about that is because Sazed just happens to venture into their camp on his way back to Luthadel. And so we get this really grotesque imagery of what these Kolos look like their skin, unless they're huge, because they only live to be 20 years old. Unless they're huge in their prime, then they're all like saggy and gross and sad.
Really funny. I'm sorry.
Gross.
It's gross. Like I immediately pictured the way he was describing their eyes when they have saggy skin was like a basset hound to the extreme, right? Where they have super droopy eyes and and he can see like the musculature underneath it. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And when they are big and in their prime, their muscles are so bulgy that it causes their skin to rip. I'm like, they just can't catch a break. What's going on with these Kolos people?
They're just gross.
I don't like it.
And how is he controlling them? That's what I want to know. How is he controlling this?
Nobody knows, which is scary because they mentioned that like somehow the Lord Ruler controlled them with his powers and kept them away from the majority of society.
Kept them at bay.
But since the Lord Ruler died, they actually started pillaging small villages near where they used to be kept by the Lord Ruler because he's no longer there to control them. And so, like, what is Jace doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That was a big question I had. Like, how is he doing that?
Yeah.
It made me think of like maybe they have some kind of contract like the Khandra. Like, I don't know.
Possibly, but like, can you trust these creatures? Because they don't seem to have like, they're not very bright. Let's just put it that way. Like, it seems like their only motivation is violence.
To kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like something about along the lines of like maybe he's holding something over them, or maybe like he has some temporary hold, you know, it's like some kind of fear. Maybe he knows what they fear and he's holding that over them. I don't know.
Well, whatever it is, it's pretty weak because even Sazed, when he talked to Jace, like pointed out, you know, you're in a very dangerous situation here, so I am gonna leave.
Precarious.
Because I know you don't want to like send a whole group like.
You need your focus here.
Yeah. So and he even like accepted that, was like, okay, fine, leave.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that he's using to control them, it's not necessarily a strong thing.
Yeah, it's tenuous.
So Elend is in the central dominance, and then you said Set is coming from the western. Isn't Straff coming from the north, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, where are all these people coming from?
Stronghold.
And so is Luthadel, right? Luthadel from
Luthad's
Central
coming
and
from
now
the
wants
south.
it back.
Because remember,
oh, that's right.
So when Luthadel fell, all the major houses kind of went back to their historic family homes, which is like outside in other dominances. So north is Straff, west is Set, and south is Luthadel.
So we still have a potential one more that could come.
I don't know. Right now there's 3.
I'm saying like the east is missing, so I mean they're going to come join the party at some point, I'm sure.
we'll see.
Right, so those were our 3 standout moments. Now we're going to talk about 2 impactful character beats. So Jen, get us kicked off here.
So we already talked about my first one, which is the terrorist woman. So I'm not going to go into that again. I really like her. I want to see more of her. And I like what she's doing with Elend, basically. The second one I have is Orsor. I really like the friendship that's growing there with him and Ven.
Yeah.
In chapter 22 especially, they were both sitting together talking, and he finally asked Ben why she hates him so much, which I was very surprised by the way. I was like, whoa, he's asking her questions. Like before, he just basically waited around to be told what to do, but he basically said, like, why do you hate me? And I just love that the conversation that they had, basically trauma bonding over both being beaten so badly, and they made them dislike and mistrust everyone.
Right.
They had a whole conversation. So there was a lot of really great moments, but there was one in particular that really stood out to me. And they said they were, talking to each other about why other people treated them the way that they did. And they said they hate you because of your powers, because they can't make you break your word, or because they worry that you are too strong to control. They become afraid of you. They grow paranoid, terrified, even as they use you, that you will take their place despite the contract, despite knowing that no Khandra would break his sacred vow. They fear you, and men hate what they fear, and so they find excuses to beat you. And it just really broke my heart, because Ven very much was like, wow, you literally went through what I've gone through, and now they have this what is I'm thinking of, attentively mutual respect for each other,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
A little spark there that could grow into a flame.
Because he even protected her, or he did something without being told to do that, and she even said, "Okay,
she made note of it.
Progress, we're making progress."
Yeah.
She was like, "It was small, but it was something."
He alerted her to the fact that Sazed was approaching.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
She was on the wall, and he noticed that someone was approaching the wall.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I really like their friendship. I hope it becomes more. And I kind of see it becoming more, but poor 2 things, trauma bonding over that.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel bad for Orsor.
So do I.
I do too.
When Ven finally realizes, oh, I'm being a bitch.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, man, that does suck, and then it forced her into a state of empathy, right?
Yeah.
So I loved that. But no, this was my favorite scene out of the whole section. I really enjoyed this exchange that they were having. So, and learning more, I think we'll definitely learn more about Khandra and contracts. If anything, just because we have to, because we have another Khandra on the loose,
Yeah.
Right.
But we're learning vicariously through Orsur right now, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the Khandra are so interesting. So I'm glad that we have this character to learn more about, because he was part of the crew, and this is something that she mentioned before, was he was a big part of the crew because he became Kelsier to spread the idea of Kelsier's religion after he died, right? And if that hadn't happened, the Ska wouldn't have rebelled, and Luthadel wouldn't have fallen like it did, and blah blah blah. But afterwards, and even during that whole planning of the fall of the final empire, they really didn't treat him like part of the crew, like the rest of them, And she started to realize that in this section. She's been mistreating him, honestly, treating him badly up until this point where they finally start to connect. And she's starting to realize that they've been kind of not including him as part of the crew, even though he was a major part of the crew since the beginning.
And she hasn't even told the crew that her new dog is him.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
The only person that knows
she
is
hasn't told
Elend.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is still incredibly ingenious. And she needs to keep that close.
Yeah, especially now that we know, they need to be careful around even their inner circle.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe that's why she hasn't told anybody too.
Yeah.
So those were my 2.
All right, so my 2, I'm going to start with Ven here. I just want to, and especially in this section, I just want to hug her and say, congratulations, great job. You're doing so good. That was a really good moment that you just had, like with Orsur.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge moment of growth for her because she was able to step outside of herself and her feelings for just a brief second and realize, like, man, I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm acting so witchy towards this character who I can really identify with.
Yeah.
And man, like, let's take it back a step and let me try and navigate this relationship in a different kind of way. Like, he doesn't even realize that I wasn't part of Kelsier's crew before all of this started. Like, she had that thought. She was like, oh, he doesn't know where I came from. Like, let's talk about that. Because she asked, she wanted to get to know him. And he's like, with all due respect, basically, I don't want you to know me.
Yeah.
And she's like, oof, okay. And she's like, okay, well, that didn't work. And instead of getting mad and giving up like she normally would have had she not been in like a really introspective moment, she decided to approach it in a completely different way. She's like, all right, well, let me tell you about me. Because I think you have this idea of me and really that's not the case. So let me, and I thought that was great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Having said
that
that,
was really good of her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having said that, then I get frustrated with Vin sometimes because of something that we've already mentioned, like her feelings towards Elend. And the fact that, you know, because she wants him to be the best leader that he can be, even though she doesn't really think that he needs to improve. He is, and she likes that for him, but she doesn't like what it's costing her, that he may not need her anymore.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like, don't reduce yourself to that. Like, don't reduce yourself to, like, your value is only when someone needs you or when something needs to be killed. Like, like she even said that at one point. I was like, that's no good either. Like, you're so much more than that.
Yeah, what was the line? Like, I'm just here to kill. Like, oof, girl.
To kill things,
That's how you see yeah, it's a terrible way to see yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yes, I'm a murderer.
I mean, I felt like that about her, and when we read The Final Empire, like, I was back and forth all the time about Ben. I'm like, oh, I love Ben. She did just, like, this whole badass thing, and then I'm like, no, I can't stand Ben. I can't believe she just did that or said that. And even though she is growing, she still kind of backtracks, like you said, Ethan, and it really does frustrate me, too. So I'm like, she's great. I think she's amazing, but she is going through so much doubt in her head that it's going to fuck up these relationships.
Yeah.
You know, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we just need to remember that she was 16 when this journey started.
Right.
And at this point, she's only about 18.
Yeah.
So if we think back to that point in time, and like, at least for me personally,
that's totally
I can see
valid.
That's true. Yeah.
all of this crap like running through your head where you're growing and your like confidence is building, but you're still, you know, you still have some vulnerabilities to work through.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that was my next point. I was like, I know she's still young, but at the same time, like, that was a huge moment that she had with Orsur, and she can't apply, she can't do that to Elend. That's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But yes, she is still young. She needs time to breathe and to grow. Unfortunately, I think her growth in that respect might be a little bumpier than what she's expecting.
Yeah. Also, awful timing because of these three
I
armies
know,
that are
seriously,
breathing down
it's
their
like,
necks.
Way to have an existential crisis in the middle of all this.
Yeah, now's not the time. Can we like put that aside for a second?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So that was my first character moment. My second was Zane. And we've talked a lot about him already, but I love when a new character enters the chat. And can we just say, like, a lot of characters entered the chat in this section.
Yeah, that's true.
We had, we had Zane, we had Tindwyl, we had Lakal and the Kolos creatures, grossness. But there was just a lot of new in this section, which I was here for. But Zane, Elend's brother,
crazy.
And I love the interactions that he had with Straff, because we get a lot of insight as to how Straff is operating, and he's cunning.
Right.
He knows some stuff, and he's smart, and he's willing to put his life on the line to get what he wants. When he drank the poison just to prove a point to Zane, saying, you know, I'm the shit, don't mess with me. Right. And then he got one of his mistresses to give him a
That was crazy, by the
Concoction.
way.
Yeah.
And he even admits it
know.
to himself. He was like, I can never let him see, I can never let him see me suffer or like be
Right.
less. Like he has to hold that fear over Zane, which I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know that Zane fears him. I think that he just doesn't have anything else to do. So he's just going to keep following Straff,
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so I think that meeting Ben is going to give him purpose, and that he's finally going to have a reason to stray away from Straff, because let's be real, what does Straff really have over him? Like there's really
Well-
nothing holding him there besides the fact that like he's his father.
Well, if he succeeds against Elend, and we already know how Zane feels about Elend, that might mean Elend's death. And so if Straff becomes the emperor, then who would his heir be? So I think he's got like more self-serving motivations here.
Yes, and that would make complete sense as to why Straff was never really worried about who would succeed him because I always thought it was
That's right.
Yeah.
weird.
He tried to
That's
get him
right.
murdered in
Yes.
the first book.
I was like, what are you doing here?
He
Like
would rather
that makes
Zane
no sense.
succeed him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm starting to
And-
see bigger picture.
So like
But even with that,
it's
we
mutually
know that-
beneficial for them.
Yeah.
Right. But even with that, we know that Zane's probably not the only illegitimate child out there because of what he was thinking.
Well,
He was like,
Yeah.
and we know he has multiple mistresses and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
true.
So, yeah. But the question that really comes up here with Zane when he enters the picture is adium.
Oh yeah.
Because I was under the impression that the Venture family had it
I thought
because
that
they
too,
were in
remember?
charge of overseeing
Yeah.
the mine.
Yeah.
Straff is trying to lock it down and determine whether or not they have it in Luthadel.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Zane thinks to himself that Straff dangles it in front of him as if he thinks that it's a drug to
Right. To
control
Mistborn
him.
and
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
need it. But Zane is like, "Ugh, that's cute. I have a whole
whatever."
stash of it over
Yeah.
here.
He has
Right.
his
I was
own
like,
stash that
"Whoa."
he's keeping from Straff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what a
Yeah.
what a reveal, like
Yeah.
subtle, but that's telling, and I'm wondering where that might go.
Yeah.
So Zane was very interesting on multiple levels.
Well, I'm wondering it now. Does he have the big stash that everybody's looking for, and he's holding that secret as a way to hold it over Straff later?
Yeah, he said he has his own stash. So it could be like the stash that
The
everybody's
stash
after.
that everybody's looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I really
Because
thought
like
Straff
the
had it
three
too.
armies are after the adium, and like Elend is also trying to find the adium because they haven't found it in Luthadel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where's the adium?
Yeah.
I know where is it?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so very interesting things. So those were our two character beats. Now let's go ahead and go into our favorite, our theory and prediction. So kick us off.
Okay.
I know
so
she's like squirming over there, ready to get it out.
I was just basically was going to say that it was confirmed, that Straff doesn't have the adium. And so
Right.
that proved my last prediction wrong. But my theory, okay. So let me pull up my notes because I did not put it on here.
Notes. She's about to dive in.
I am.
Right.
Okay. So my theory on the mist, and I'm wondering if like, okay, I'll see what you guys think. I think the deepness and the mist are the same thing. So the Lord Ruler had kept the mist at bay and only allowed it to come out at night. This is what I think. Okay. So I think that the Lord Ruler had kept the mist at bay and only allowed it to come out at night through whatever power he got from the Well of Ascension, but now that he's gone, it's coming out more and more and killing people. Maybe that's what he meant when he said what he did at the end. He was like, you don't know what you're doing. Right. And I think that Vin is going to travel to the Well of Ascension to gain that power to defeat it, because she's already starting to get some kind of pull from the north, which is where the well is. And she's going to be the one to defeat this mist, because I think the mist and the deepness are the same thing. Now, I have a couple of quotes to prove, or like to go along with
Back
my
it up.
theory. Okay.
Supplemental.
Yeah. Okay. So when Elend was telling Ben what he learned about the deepness from his own studies, he said, I think it was a creature of some sort, a dark and evil thing that nearly destroyed the world. So the creature kind of like goes along with what Ben has been seeing in the mist. And then the other thing I put on here was when Ben was thinking about the prophecy and why she thinks that the deepness was like never destroyed. She was reading, but the prophecies all said that the hero shouldn't take the well's power for himself. He was supposed to give it up, trust in the power itself to destroy the deepness. Reshek didn't do that. He took the power. So wouldn't that mean that the deepness was never defeated? And then the next thing that, she was reading that came up was like, okay, I think this is another thing that ties the deepness and the mist as the same thing. I sometimes see shadows following me, dark creatures that I don't understand nor wish to understand. And she thought that that person was talking about the mist. And again, I think it's the deepness. And then the other one was, it isn't a shadow, this dark thing that follows me, the thing that only I can see. It's blackish, translucent, it's insubstantial, wispy, and formless, like it's made out of a dark fog. Again, talking about the mist, but I still think it's the deepness. And then the last one, the deepness was dangerous. That much was clear. It had ravaged the land, slaying thousands. The monster had sown chaos wherever it stepped, bringing destruction and fear. And so I think that's what say Zed has been seeing happen in all of those other places where like the mist have been coming out during the day, killing people. And so it's just going to continue coming out, killing thousands of people. So that's why I think that whatever's happening with the mist, like it's all starting to happen because the Lord Ruler is gone. He had some whatever control over it, but I think they're the same thing. What do y'all think?
That's a good one.
Okay, when I started reading this and noticing that the mists are gaining more power, I too thought that the mist and the deepness were in fact the same thing.
Okay.
I'm wondering though if this is just the predecessor of like the mist actually taking on a more nefarious form.
Right. Ben has been seeing.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Remember, she's starting to see this figure in the mist, and she's calling it the mist spirit. So
yeah,
it's,
which is
it's
why
like becoming some type of almost sentient thing.
Right. That's why, when Elend was talking about the deepness, he said, I think it was a creature of some sort, a dark and evil thing. And Ben has been seeing creatures in the mist. So I'm like, okay, the mist and deepness are probably the same thing then. And I think that with Ben not being focused on the plan, on this like Three Kings plan, because like all of the crew is worried about the armies that are going to attack. She's not worried about that at all. Like her mind is not on that at all. It's on the mist. It's on what's happening with the mist. So I think that she's going to leave because she already mentioned it. She said, because, Zane asked her if there was something you can do without consequence, what would it be? And she thought in her head, she said, go north, which is where the Well of Ascension is, because she's feeling a pull from there. So she's not going to be a part of this whole like kingdom takeover scenario that's happening right now. She's going to go off and try to solve this whole big thing, before it kills everybody. Because then if it kills everybody, then it doesn't matter who the king is, you know? So
all the armory's going to be gone.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. Like if you didn't get rid of the Night King, then
it wouldn't matter.
Everybody's going to die anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my theory. We'll see how it plays out. But I was picking up on all of the different things that were being described. Like everything that was describing the mist, everything that was describing the deepness. I'm like, you're describing the same thing. So.
Yep. Okay.
Good one.
First, with the mist and the deepness, what led me down that rabbit hole was the epigraphs, right?
Right.
But overall, I'm not having as easy of a time following along with these epigraphs as I was in the Final Empire. So these are giving me a little run for my money here. And I'm loving it, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, it doesn't seem to flow as well as the other ones did.
Yeah.
Right.
Where it was more logical.
It's really like broken up.
Yeah. So I'm sure that was intentional, and I'm sure there's probably like some different pieces that we have to put together there. But yeah, that's just an aside. My prediction, I don't really have a theory at this point, but my prediction is going back to Orsur and Vin, that they're going to come to an arrangement and she's going to release him from his contract. But he's going to choose to stay with her because I think they will have built up their relationship enough by that point to where he respects her in a way that he's not respected a master before, period. Kind of like an Aladdin and Genie kind of situation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's just going to stick around and say, no, I choose to do this. Like, what an empowering moment that would be for someone who's been forced to do something for so long.
To be willing.
Now, yeah, that would be ideal. I would love if that happened. I don't know, but that's just a prediction I might have.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
She
Yeah,
tried
sometimes
to
my
already.
predictions are just like, right, yeah. And I didn't know if that was like foreshadowing of something. But
Oh, true.
Sometimes,
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes my predictions are just wishful thinking.
I mean, most of ours are usually that way.
Well, he's been by her side this whole time while she's like keep like maintaining the perimeter around Luthadel and like making sure that Elend and everybody is safe and trying to investigate the mystery of like the other Khandra. And he's seen what she has seen with the mist coming out earlier and this Watcher person and just all this stuff. So like he'll probably, now that they have this mutual respect, he'll also probably start to feel like her mission to figure out what's going on with the mists and trying to go to the Well of Ascension will become his mission too, you know? Possibly.
True. Yeah.
That was our 3, 2, 1. Now, like I said in our last episode, we're going to end every episode in this series with a big question, right? This is a hot seat moment where each of us are going to take an answer or answer this question. And it could be a one-sentence answer, a one-word answer, or maybe a little bit of a discussion, but it's just a question. Here we go. Is Zane a real threat or just saying out loud what Vin is already thinking? And here's what I mean by that. Is he a real threat, meaning is he truly manipulating her? Or is he the person that can really see her for who she is and be her best support, be her best, whatever that may be her best mate, her best sparring partner, whatever.
Yeah.
Mentor, yeah. A mutual mentor because they seem to thrive off of each other at this point. But what do we make of Zane?
I think right now where we are, he's a real threat just because of we know who his dad is. And, you know, like Straff is, I feel like not somebody you should mess with. So right now I'm seeing him as a real threat. However, I think that the more he gets to know Ben, the more his purpose will change. Again, that's what I was saying earlier. But, you know, that's the romance person in me. That's the hopeful in me, you know, like,
Yeah.
and again, I hate to say that because I love Ellen. So that means this is going to effectively remove Ben from Ellen's relationship, right? But I think right now he's a threat.
Okay.
I think he's going to remain a threat, but maybe not in the way that we think of, right? I think he's going to become unstable, like kind of like a Targaryen, right? He's already
gonna
got
the voice.
unhinged. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I hope that I am, because I do like Zane. I like his character just because he's interesting,
Yeah.
you know?
He is.
But I think he wants a specific kind of answer from Vin that he's hoping to get. And I think she's going to have grown enough in her character that she's not going to be giving what he's seeking. And that's going to throw him off the edge.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool.
Steph's over there. She's like, I know.
Well, to answer your question, I do think he's a threat because of the crisis that Ben is going through right now. He unfortunately caught her at a very weak moment. And so that is kind of like an ideal setup to, I mean, for lack of a better term, just fuck shit up in her life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. She's at a
So-
very vulnerable moment. So yeah, I can see that.
Y'all, why do fuckboys always know
I
the
know.
absolutely wrong time to enter the chat?
You know what though? That is a very good way to put him. He is a fuckboy.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a good thing with Elend, but she's questioning herself and their relationship right now. Enter the fuckboy.
They are so terrible, but you usually have way more fun with them until they fuck you over.
And she's having a lot of fun sparring with him.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
Telling you, Ellen, y'all, leave my man alone.
I know.
All right, listeners, you know what we think. Now we want to know what you think. So be sure to comment or answer our poll that we're going to put out on YouTube. We're going to extend that conversation and we want to hear from you. So again, that question was, is Zane a real threat? Tell us what you think. Or is he just saying out loud what Vin is already saying?
All right, book friends, that was the end of our second deep dive on The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Let's keep the discussion going. We are Books Between Friends pod on all platforms. Thank you so much for interacting with us already on our socials. We look forward to chatting with you guys some more. There is so much happening. Let us know what you think, but please, no spoilers.
Yes.
No spoilers.
Please, please.
Okay, also, next time, something is off in Luthadel. As we move into part 3, covering chapters 25 through 36 of The Well of Ascension, the tension is getting heavier, threats are getting closer, and the emotional weight of leadership, loyalty, and survival is really starting to crack our characters open. We're diving into major character growth, the hidden agendas we're starting to pick up on, and the political maneuvering happening behind the scenes that has us side-eyeing just about everyone. So, if you're reading along, this is where things start shifting in a big way. Be sure to tune in next week.